Hello Internet, welcome back to our Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead series. In the last episode, we explored the refugee center. We helped them clear out their back room. It was quite a little zombie mosh pit with us and the other survivors. And then we started talking to people mostly to see what we could do to help them out. We donated some food to the beggars at the entrance and just made sure that they were fed for a day. And then we gave a bunch of supplies to one of the merchants because we couldn't really find anyone to accept them and we just wanted to give some stuff away to be nice. And then finally we turned down a quest that would have sent us to a hospital because frankly hospitals in this game are absolutely horrible and I recommend you never go to them, so we turned that down and then we hit the road again. And that's where we'll pick back up. We did sleep for like 16 hours straight. We had been very tired and then we took some drowsy cough syrup which put us to sleep as well. So I think we're good to hit the road. We should be very well rested and we should eat again because again we are still getting calorie dense messages despite the fact that we've been eating a diet of exclusively calorie dense meat. So we should eat at every opportunity. In fact, we should be eating more than just when we're very hungry. So that's a trick if you're new to the game or whatever and you're finding yourself not getting enough calories. Obviously eating when you're very hungry is something you should do, but also you can eat prior to becoming hungry. So what we have here is satisfied. Once this backs off and that goes away, we can eat again even though we're not actually hungry. So we should be focusing on doing that, I think. And in this episode, we're going to drive over here and see if we can get across to this road or if the forest cuts us off. Because if we can get over there, then we don't have to do a whole bunch of backtracking, which is what we need to do if we can't find a way over to that road. So we're going to drive around here. Once again, feeling a little under the weather, so if I'm more hoarse than usual, that would be why. I'm trying to push through it, but definitely it's not been great. So we see a zombie dog as well as a carcass of some sort. Looks like just a standard human corpse out here. We're just going to blow past that. Looks like we may actually be able to make it to this road. That's actually so good. That's really fantastic news. What we need to do is find a gas station or something in a local area where we can pick up another map, because we've explored most of what we've already revealed. Actually, I guess that's not true. We have quite a lot over here that does connect way off into the distance. What is this? It's another mega store. It's pretty far away though, but yeah, this is great. Now we have more area we can explore without having to backtrack. So, lucky us. Maybe we'll swing by this little teeny tiny town. There'll be basically no monster density, and we'll be able to just loot a couple houses, see what's going on. Yeah, just 3 houses and a little patch of forest. So we should be able to dominate this area very easily. It's a lot easier than trying to push into a big town. Let's get a question here. We have not gotten a random question in a while. So click, scroll, and click. What game has the best soundtrack? Oh my god, finally! I added a bunch of questions about video games way back and we never had any. I think we had one and I don't even remember what games we talked about. A webbed zombie. That is so a while back, swimmer zombies were changed. So they're not swimmer zombies anymore. There's a new swimmer zombie that's completely different. I haven't seen it yet, but this is a webbed zombie. This used to be just the standard swimmer zombie, so a very low tier creature that we don't really have to worry about, and we're not weary or anything, so we should be able to melee them without any real concern here. Still looking to upgrade our steel spear. Obviously steel spear is, it's the highest tier spear really. I mean, you could go to a pole arm eventually, but it's, as far as spears go, this is the pinnacle of spears. And I would really like to get like a warhammer or a mace or some advanced melee weapon. We just have not found the books necessary to forge those things. So would love to upgrade this weapon and take on like true end game form, but for now the spear, well, it's serviceable. And because we're rested and everything, we're not really slow or any of those kind of problems that we normally might have. Yes, let's stop. I shouldn't be smashing when there are clearly zombies about. There's a few more, another 4. We're seeing some kid zombies. It's such a small town, there can't be that many to deal with. I'm a little worried about the dog, but we should be okay. In fact, let's move so the dog outpaces the zombie, and then we'll try to deal with the dog. Oh, very easy. That's so lucky that we hit it, and we'll put you down as well. Okay, and we're seeing some of those kid zombies. Not really concerned about children zombies. Again, the main issue is that they are harder to hit. One of them is a boomer. I don't know what the other one was. I was not paying very close attention. Always sad to see a zombie in a swimsuit because you know that person had a bad apocalypse. I can't imagine being more exposed than being in basically your underwear when the zombie apocalypse comes. It's not great. So this is the little boomer here, which will just melee. You're covered in bile. Oh no. Actually, it's really gross, but what are you going to do? So we're seeing some more. Oh, they're to the south. Oh, so we're kind of on the outskirts of their vision range, which is why they weren't coming at us. All right. Anyway, what game has the best soundtrack? I'm so glad we got a video game question. It's something I actually know about and can actually talk about without sounding like an idiot. Video game sound... Well, so with video games, there's two. Oh, you're the hunter. Okay, so you're going to come at me real quick, yeah. And you're hard to hit as well, but put him down. Some pebbles in a slingshot, that's not going to do it for me. So there's two aspects of video games when it comes to music. There is, how do you refer to them? Its soundtrack is one. What's the other one? Basically, it means, are you talking about original music or are you talking about a soundtrack of like mainstream music? Oh, score. Is it so do you mean like a soundtrack that's put like GTA, right? Always has a radio that has real music on it? Or do you mean like best original score, which would be like, I mean, Megalovania, or what's that song from Undertale? It's fantastic. That's like one of the best original scores ever. So it depends what you mean. If you mean soundtrack, I really like Saints Row 2. Has a lot of that like mainstream, like there's a lot of indie rock songs that are really good on there. There's a song called, it's The Architects, or Architects is the band. Don't Call It a Ghetto, which is, I think objectively, you should Google it. Don't Call It a Ghetto, Architects. You should watch it on YouTube. I think objectively the song is actually terrible, but I love that song. I don't know why. It's just from Saints Row, the soundtrack. I don't even think the band got very popular. Man, our bacon is rotted, or anything like that, but I do really like that song. And it just had a lot of good music, and some of the hip hop and stuff as well is pretty good. So that's probably my favorite score. I have that on Spotify. I listen to that soundtrack sometimes, or a modified playlist of that, I should say, on Spotify, because I cut out a lot of the stuff I don't like. But yeah, that's probably the number one for like soundtrack stuff. If you're talking about like original score, now I know a lot of people love like Zelda music or like Final Fantasy. And I think a lot of that is nostalgia. And for me, the nostalgia is more like, I like Deus Ex, right? That's my nostalgia. So that soundtrack from that game, the original Deus Ex, is fantastic. And I love it. Like that's mine. Like some people have a strong connection to Zelda, but I have Deus Ex music. And then like, I don't know. I was a Sega kid, so I didn't have the Nintendo impact that a lot of people have for, you know, Nintendo games and stuff. I mean, and not that Final Fantasy is not good, like soundtrack wise. I do remember liking the soundtrack in Final Fantasy X. That was like the one I played the most growing up. I think it depends on your age which Final Fantasy you really gravitate to. We did see a giant wasp, so we need to be aware of that as we move forward here, but it shouldn't be a huge issue. You can at home. Okay. What other books you got? Nothing. Okay. Laptop should have a medium battery in it, I think. These are magazines. We really don't need those. Yeah, we'll take that medium battery, I guess. Actually, we don't need batteries at all. We have so many batteries. Let's peek our battery collection. Oh, wait, that's right. When we left, we couldn't find our heavy batteries. We should really keep an eye out for heavy batteries. I think we have one in our forge. That's not our tool pile. Forge? Yeah, we have one heavy battery in our forge, but we should keep an eye out for more of those. And we'll drop the rest of these magazines. Feels good to be looting again instead of just driving around everywhere, even if they are just houses. So let's have a look at some of these other houses. And oh, you know what? There was a basement and upstairs. We should check those out. You never know. We might come across a basement full of guns. So let's pop down here. Child zombie. See for a second if we get any more that come out. You feel remorse for killing the zombie child. Are we still not over that yet? So the way that works, in case you're not familiar, if you kill a child zombie, you feel guilty. And I know some people have a problem with that, but I think that depending on the stage of the apocalypse, especially early on, they don't look like zombies. They would just look like children. Oh my gosh, Shady Zombie. I haven't seen you guys in forever. So basically, Shady Zombies are invisible if you're not right next to them. And we used to have, way back in the day when I first started playing, Shady Zombies would spawn everywhere, and they would spawn in packs of like 6 creatures. So you would often find hordes of Shady Zombies, but then when they changed the way evolutions work, they became an upgraded form, so you don't see them as much, and now when they spawn usually as singular creatures. So it's pretty neat to see one of them again. I don't really need chemicals. Like calcium carbide, do I really need that stuff? Chemistry for kids. I mean, I'll take a chemistry book any day of the week. Not really anything else though. Check these books. We have mechanical mastery already. Anything can be beautiful. Maybe a photography book. Stylist, designer, and glitter goddess Tiffany Blust takes looks at the world with one mantra in mind: anything can be beautiful. That's 100% true. One of my favorite movies when I was like 17 is a movie called Cashback, which is a British kind of like a weird comedy. There's some like time travel elements, which I love time travel. Let's just run. I don't see a reason to fight the roach, and they're so annoying to hit that... Oh, of course you followed me upstairs. GDT killed 1 insect. Is that really the first insect we've killed? That's so bonkers. Let's butcher it. We might as well take the chitin. We're already here. Grab the chitin. 10 chunks of chitin. I'll take the endochitin. I don't think you use that really for anything, but we'll take it. Anyway, there's this movie called Cashback, and it's this really kind of artsy, like, I don't know, I thought it was deep when I was young, but it's probably not, in hindsight, very deep at all. But it's about, like, love and getting over a bad relationship and finding a new person that really sparks beauty in your life. And there's a lot of, like, not photography, he draws, but, like, there's a lot of beautiful imagery in that film. And at one point, he's working in a he works at a grocery store, and he spills peas on the floor, and he's just standing there staring at it, talking about how like anything can be beautiful. And it's just an image of these green peas on the tiles, and he's just like enthralled staring at this like this is art. And his manager comes up and like hits him and is like, get back to work, clean this up. But anyway, the point of that is that anything can be beautiful. It'll even peas on the floor. Check out Cashback if you have time. It's a older movie. Like I said, I don't know if it holds up. I haven't seen it in probably 15 years, but I really liked it when I was like 17, 18, somewhere in that neighborhood. We will take the leather gear, I suppose. I think we'll just butcher it here because I mistakenly did not bring leather with us when we moved. So let's, you know what? Let's keep the pants because we have been wearing leather pants a lot. We'll butcher the other 2. Yes. Disassemble. Wait a minute. No, I don't want to disassemble. Oh, it's too late. It already has been started. I wanted to butcher it, but let's take it apart. Let's see what we get when we take it apart. I didn't read the menu. Disassemble. Drop several items on the floor. So we did get a patch and a steel buckle. Sure. That sounds tailory. And we got 2 patches from the skirt. Not really amazing, but... Anyway. What was I talking about? Oh, music soundtracks. Yes. So original score for me is Deus Ex for sure, is one of my favorites of all time. The game is amazing, and I grew up with it, so it really, you know, speaks to me. I liked the music. I mean, I liked really any game I played as a kid. So like Unreal Tournament had some interesting music, you know, even stuff like the Sonic soundtrack or like Alex Kidd, even though they're not like super amazing, because I played them as a kid, they stuck in my mind as like super awesome. If I'm being real, I think that like Undertale just has such a phenomenal soundtrack, which I didn't even like Undertale. Like I know that's like sacrilege, everyone loves that game, but I didn't enjoy the gameplay very much, and it just seemed kind of slow and boring, and I didn't like it. But the music was fantastic, you know. A lot of indie games have really fantastic music. You know, the other day, I mean, I guess it was like a couple months ago now, I was going to record, it's a game called The Texorcist. It's like, it's like a typing game, but it's also like not like a roguelike, but like kind of like a shooter where you have to avoid incoming stuff. It's this weird little indie game that I picked up a while back for probably like $1. And I booted it up and I was like, man, this music is absolutely a banger. Like, this music is fantastic. And it's a game no one ever talks about because it was just kind of a small game that never really went anywhere or got famous or anything. But the music was fantastic. I love indie game music, like, because they try the hardest, right? Like, if you go with a mainstream game, a lot of times they just pick mainstream music and it's just not that interesting. It's the indie game stuff where they seem like they work really hard to, like let's say you're playing Grand Theft Auto, they don't really match the music to the events on screen so much. Like, it's just not as, it doesn't stand out to me as much. But if you play other like smaller indie games, they go way out of their way to make sure music cues really fit with what's going on in the game, and they often use much more emotional, dramatic music that kind of really appeals to me. You know, I'm an emo kid at heart, and, you know, I think of like 2000s emo music as kind of my bread and butter, you know, like some indie rock, some pop rock, some like folk rock or folk pop or whatever you want to call it. Like, just think like God, I hate these two bands, but like kind of like Death Cab for Cutie or Bright Eyes from like the early 2000s. I don't like either of those bands, but they're easy examples that people probably are familiar with. And don't get me wrong, I love like angry emo too. Like My Chemical Romance still gets me, but yeah, I don't know. That's my kind of music. And indie games tend to have that feel more often and tend to be much more emotional music. I don't know. Anyway, probably I sound like an idiot, but let me know in the comments, what's your favorite game soundtrack or original score? And let me know. There are so many games out there that have fantastic music. You know, I grew up playing Halo, and at this point, it's like a meme. The Halo sound, the song, the intro song, and all that is such a meme. And you know, if you go to Google, I'm sure there's like hundreds of people playing it on guitar, or like the intro where it's just the vocals of like the original Halo, where it's just sort of a choir. You know, I've seen a long time ago, I saw a guy, I think he sticks his head in like a standing tank and does that because of the echo that he gets. And it's like such a meme at this point, but that music back then, I mean, it was such a powerful song that everyone was familiar with. You know, it's such a thing that people my age, we grew up with that, and it means, you know, it still speaks to that part of us that still, you know, has that nostalgia for when we were teenagers. There's a lot of really good soundtracks out there. What else do I listen to? I'm trying to think. Usually when a song makes it into my personal playlist, that's how I know that I really like the soundtrack. So I'm trying to think what games I have music for on myself. Well, Fallout. Fallout has an excellent soundtrack. Unfortunately, all the Fallout games use the same like 15 songs. They never bothered to get rights for any of the other music, so it's always like the same handful of songs. But like what's that? Is it the Ballad of Paladin? I think is one that stands out to me. That was in the movie Stand By Me when I was a kid, and I didn't know what the name of the song was. And then, of course, since then I've learned. So that one's really good. Obviously, Big Iron. I actually love Big Iron as an actual, like, unironically, I enjoyed that song a lot. And I know, again, that's one of those that's become a real meme and people post about all the time, but I really enjoy that song. I don't know why. And Way Back Home, I think, is the other one from Fallout that I really like. But anyway, so Fallout has some great music. I'm trying to remember. I remember liking the BioShock song. It was just Sinatra singing. What's that song called? Somewhere or Under the Sea or something. I don't know off the top of my head. I grew up listening to Sinatra because I lived with old people, like Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack, all that stuff. So I always those kind of songs tend to appeal to me more than they do to average people. Like when I was a teenager, I would listen to quartet music sometimes, and that was like such an old-fashioned thing that people my age would make fun of me for. Is there really not a road here? I mean, we can go this. Oh no, plowed into a tree. Okay, let's back it up. Let's back it up. It's fine. It's not like I have windshields anymore anyway. Okay. Try not to hit the scooter on your way out either. I've always had eclectic tastes. I like a lot of different kinds of music. I really don't enjoy rap, and I don't enjoy country. Those are the two that I just generally... I mean, and then even that's not true. I listen to anything, and there are rap songs that I like, and there are country songs that I like, but for the most part, those two genres are like... I think they're actually terrible. I think many of those songs are really not enjoyable at all. And then the other thing I don't like is noise, which apparently is a genre of music. So when I would look for, because I like putting music on my YouTube videos, so at this point you should be listening to, in the background there should be some music, probably Stream Beats, which is a free for commercial use series put together by a YouTuber and streamer. And so I use that mostly, but I've also looked around for other real songs, copyright free stuff. And honestly, most of them are just listed as noise. And I would play them for you in this video to illustrate my point, but they're actually so like deafening and unpleasant that I'm not going to put you through that. So there's a whole genre that's just like literally people banging and like making industrial saw noises and stuff like that in the background. So that kind of music is like the one other type that I just cannot tolerate. I don't understand why people listen to that. And I don't understand how it qualifies as music, because it literally is just noise. So I'm a little biased, I guess. I have my preferences. I'm a rock and emo kind of guy, as probably you would guess from my personality. But I also like pop music. I also like, like I said, some country music. I like hip hop. Mostly I don't like hip hop, but I like a decent amount of it. Sometimes I'll listen to rap. Sometimes I'll listen to reggae. Sometimes I like everything. It's just, if I looked at the bulk of what I listen to, it falls into the rock, and probably like pop rock and indie rock would be the two that I would say. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about game soundtracks, but you know what I mean. It's hard to talk about music without talking about music, like... Everyone has their preferences. Music is such a powerful force in our life. Ace driver, no turn is too sharp. Driving level 7 gained. Yeah, I keep forgetting to disable that. Let's go ahead and disable driving. So you can disable skill gain by going in this menu and selecting it. Where's driving at? Looking for driving. Where's driving? Oh, vehicles, my mistake. If you press enter on the thing, you'll see it kind of changes its color. That means we'll no longer gain experience there. And this is kind of important, because if you look at our current focus, it's 37. And the reason it's 37, it's not because we're... so normally focus drops when you're crafting or whatever. Basically, focus drops anytime you're gaining skill experience. And the problem is, when you drive, your focus just tanks because you're gaining driving experience. So if we disable that, we should stop. Not only do we never need more than 7 in driving, like that's absurd, we don't need that. But also it will prevent us from losing our focus. So that's good. And let's just continue driving here. Like, music is such a powerful thing that has such a profound impact on so many people. Especially when you're younger, you really solidify what your tastes in music are. This is a huge house. I bet there's a lot of zombies here. Let's be careful. But this is enormous. I want to check this place out. It's rare that I see... Oh, we should eat. I did say we would eat every time we stopped being full. So let's do that real quick. I don't know. You form your taste in music really early, and it has such a profound impact on other people. I've never been a big music guy. Like, music moves people and evokes an emotional response in them. And I definitely do experience that. But for the most part, my emotional engagement comes from storytelling. So reading a book, watching a movie, And then my favorite songs, and we've talked about this before, my favorite songs are songs that tell stories because I'm built like that. Like that's just what I enjoy, and what speaks to me is storytelling. So I've always been more of a movie and book guy than a music guy, but I recognize that that's uncommon. Most people are absolutely obsessed with music, and it has such such a significant emotional impact on them. It's a little rose garden in here. Do you give rose hips when I pick you? Rose hip tea is a real thing. Go ahead and harvest that. You do give rose hips, okay. Rose hips can be used to make a tea in real life. I assume we can do that in the game. Rose? Let's go look at our books. Maybe we do have a book recipe. To my understanding, rose hip tea is fine for you, but if you drink more than just a little bit, it acts as a laxative, if I recall correctly. So we don't even have the recipe for rose hip tea. I wonder if it's just not in the game. But anyway, so like I think rose hips are actually mildly toxic. So if you drink a lot of it, it'll give you diarrhea and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Maybe you can, and we just don't have the recipe. But we have a lot of books, and our survival should be like 3 by now. What's our survival? Where are you at? Survival is almost 4. Why don't I have the rose hip tea? I'm gonna look this up and see if it's in the game. So here we can see the rose hip entry. It's listed as fruit matter, which is interesting. I do think rose hips are kind of like, it's the fruit. I thought they were like berries basically, but I have no idea. But it doesn't look like they have a tea recipe. It looks like they're just used in fruit products. And that's really interesting. It makes me wonder if maybe rose hips are not always the same thing. Maybe you can't make them out of certain rose hips. Maybe it's a very specific species that you can make the tea from. So I'm not sure why that's not listed here. I find that interesting because it seems like something we would definitely have. And it would be very easy to make. Hey, if you're watching this and you want to get a contributor thing, you might do a little research, see if they're actually can be used that way, and make the recipe. But yeah, it's interesting. Maybe it's just because it goes into a generic fruit juice instead of being a specific item. But I would think that rose hip tea actually has some health benefits. So I don't really know what to make of that. But anyway, that's enough of that. Let's get back in the game here. I don't think I've had rose hip tea. I know they sell, like I'm sure if I went to Amazon right now, there's just literally 0. I quick saved by mistake. There's literally 0 things in this kitchen. So that's pretty miserable. I hate when that happens. Everything is looted. Great. Also, they have a curtain instead of a real door. Wow, this place sucks. There's nothing here. I really hate when we come across map gen like this because it's so inconsistent with the rest of the world. Yeah, there's just nothing here. We'll check the upstairs. Second floors are more recent than ground floors in a lot of these older buildings, so there might be more up here than there is downstairs. And that is already the case because we're seeing... Oh, but these look like they're the old dressers because they don't have the same item group layout that they do elsewhere. So still not a lot of stuff. Electric guitar. Probably not going to need that in the apocalypse. Some marbles. I used to play instruments in this game all the time, and now I never do. More cough syrup. Alrighty. What do we got here? Yeah, just not very much. We'll take the home repair guide. We should read our books to get access to their recipes. And I don't see a reason to go to the chicken coop. Chickens just don't have that much meat on them. Actually, there might be some eggs in there. We'll pop in and see. What do you got? Bird food. Bird food. No eggs. Some poop. Great. And we could feed them and tame them, but I don't eat eggs that much, and we've been on a meat diet anyway to try and gain weight, so I don't really see a reason to do that. Hopefully no zombies. Couple horses. Hello, horse. Could fill up our freezer again with some horse meat. I'm not going to do that. We have horse tack, so we could ride the horse, but I don't see a reason to do that. Does tack include a saddle? saddle bridle, and associated tack. Good, 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 good. So tack, in case you're not familiar, tack is like just lingo in the horse world for everything that goes on your horse. So like it does mention the bridle, and I personally do consider the saddle tack, which is what is listed here, but I thought previously that the horse tack and saddle were separate items. Maybe I'm misremembering. Nothing really here that we care about. What do you got in here? Big old empty nothing. Seed drill? Nope. Isn't that a Pokemon? Seed drill? What do we got here? Nothing. Nothing. Great. This place is great. Alright. Well, we didn't really get anything out of this place. A couple books. There's just a single floor tile out here. That's kind of weird. We'll head back to base. So not really anything. Again, we could butcher the horse to get a little bit of extra meat, but I actually really like horses, so I'm not going to do that, which is a completely random thing, I know, but what are you going to do? We have plenty of meat at the moment, over 120 portions of meat here. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't do math. Like 150 portions of meat right there. So I think we'll just hit the road again. I don't see a reason to go over here. Just another... Well, no. Why don't we head south instead? See what we can see around this other small town. Maybe there's some interesting buildings, and it's a smallish town, so we might be able to get in and out pretty easy. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We're going to call the episode here, actually. Everybody, thank you for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you, I don't know, learned something about my taste in music. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite game soundtrack is. I actually kind of am interested to know, because I enjoy video games quite a lot, and I enjoy soundtracks. And I don't think we've ever had this question before, so there's that. Everybody, for now, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll be back with more in the near future, and I'll see you in the next video.